Hello parents, thanks for tuning in for our final video on family discipleship. I'd like to wrap up this series by sharing some resources and thoughts regarding Bibles and books for our kids. Now, for those who are watching who may not be familiar with me, I am coming to you from my office in downtown Chicago, where I share a wall with a music studio where they do children's music lessons. So if you hear some of that music coming through in the video, hopefully that will be nice ambience for us. And now there are so many good Bibles out there that have been designed with kids in mind. There are even more Christian children's books. Today I am not going to weed through all of those resources. I just want to share a few top Bibles and books that I am very thankful for as a parent. There certainly are many other good ones that will benefit your family, but these are books and Bibles that I would definitely recommend from experience. Now, I'm not going to be talking today about actual Bible translations or entire verse-by-verse Bibles. Personally, we haven't begun regularly reading through the Bible verse by verse with our kids because they're so young. But if you watch my earlier videos, you will see that I definitely do prioritize getting actual words of God, verses from the Bible, into our kids' hearts and minds. I think it should be a top priority. I just suggest ways of doing it with younger kids that will meet them where they are in their development. Today, I'd like to suggest resources for getting Bible stories into our kids' hearts in a way that they will be able to receive well. First is the Jesus Storybook Bible by Sally Lloyd Jones. Our church is really excited about this resource, so much so that we give it to our families as part of the child dedication ceremonies at our church. Now, this book is a collection of Bible stories starting in Genesis and going through Revelation, but each story is presented in a way that links it to the narrative of the entire Bible, and each story intentionally and specifically points to Jesus and the gospel. This Bible doesn't try to teach kids morality or how to be nice instead of naughty. Rather, it teaches them about Jesus, about God's character and the good news. The writing is so good. It's really fun at times, and the illustrations are really engaging for kids. Now, there have been sections and phrases in this that have been really helpful for me in my own personal adult life. I'd actually like to read some of this with you to give you a taste. Let's have a bit of story time. Now, from the story of Naaman, the powerful general with leprosy who comes to the prophet Elisha to be healed, and Elisha tells him to go wash in a river. Just wash? Naaman laughed. In that slimy, stinky river? He looked around to see if this was some kind of joke. It wasn't. Any person can wash in a river, he thought. I am Naaman. I am important. I should do something important so God will heal me. And he rode off in a rage. Of course, you and I both know that's not how God does things. All Naaman needed was nothing. It was the one thing Naaman didn't have. That phrase has stuck in my mind for years, really, and I hope it sticks with my kids too. And then one more from the story of Jesus selecting his disciples. Jesus had a lot to do. He would need some people to help him. Who would make good helpers? Clever ones, rich ones, strong, important ones? Some people might think so, but I'm sure by now you don't need me to tell you they'd be wrong. Because the people God uses don't have to know a lot of things or have a lot of things. They just have to need him a lot. Oh man, that's the type of teaching about God I want to instill in my kids. Okay, so the next Bible resource is this. Read Aloud Bible Stories by Ella Lindvall. This was actually what my parents read to me when I was a kid. It's still really good and has been really great for my kids. There are 5 volumes. Here are 2 of them. And each volume has 5 important Bible stories. Now, sometimes even the Jesus Storybook Bible can go above my kids' heads. This resource here is the best I've seen at making the Bible understandable for the youngest of children. There are very few words on each page, and the sentences are intentionally designed so that young kids will understand and be engaged. It is this resource that made the Bible come alive for my kids, and it made God's stories stick in their minds. Now, the only knock I have on this resource is that everyone in every illustration is white, even though these stories take place in the Middle East. Sadly, that was true of all the Christian stories and Bible stories that I read when I was a kid. But however, it is not true for the other resources in this video, including the Jesus Storybook Bible and the next one that I want to show you. The Garden, the Curtain, and the Cross. Now, this is not a Bible storybook per se, but rather a children's book that presents the theme of the entire biblical narrative and then delivers the gospel to your kids. It's a great book for your shelves, for your family story times. It is also part of a series. There are a handful of books in the series, and each book has the same illustrator and has a very similar look, although I think that different authors contribute to the writing. The other book with the same illustrator and the same look that I'd like to highlight in this video is called God's Very Good Idea. It likewise teaches kids about an overall theme of the entire Bible and powerfully delivers the gospel so that your kids can put their trust in God and walk with Him in life. Now, I will include links to all of these resources under this video. Hopefully these and the other things I've shared in previous videos will bring life and direction to your family. Thanks for watching.